Story 1. Technology Connections. Fell into a technology rabbit hole and found his channel. Love finding out why and how stuff works with some history thrown in. He makes complex ideas easy to understand, and his sense of humor is right up my alley. He also has another channel called Technology Con Extras for supplemental content. AskReddit. Found him years ago when he was trying to make mint flavoring from aspirin. Always been a fan of science and chemistry, so I've been watching him for years. He has a couple of channels, and some are a little more chaotic than others. Project Farm. A guy tests tools and products and gives his opinions about them. Definitely super informative and genuinely good content. Story 2. Ethos Lab. The saying goes, he's your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. He's been making Minecraft videos for over a decade and has always been just behind the scenes, making groundbreaking techniques. The original hopper clock design was made by him. He was one of the first technical Minecrafters before even redstone existed. He created an automated mail system on a server, and within the last couple of years, he has been experimenting with quick refill item storage access for single stacks of blocks, all in a single ender chest. On top of it all, the guy is super humble to the point that everyone around him has to highlight just the crazy accomplishments he's achieved because they all know he won't. Story 3. A Canadian man who looks like Jesus enthusiastically talks about firearms in a very calming way. You don't have to like guns or know anything about them. It's just oddly compelling content. Story 4. LD Shadow Lady. She's so pure and fun to watch, and I love watching their streams with other YouTubers such as Orion Sound, Lauren Z-Side, and Smallish Beans, etc. That was my childhood, and I still love watching them today because of the wholesomeness. Story 5. Ethos Lab. Every video the guy makes is a huge banger. He has been doing Minecraft for about 14 years now or something, and he still comes up with new and exciting ways to keep the game interesting. Also, he's your favorite Minecraft YouTuber's favorite Minecraft YouTuber. Story 6. I realized when finishing this post you used the singular, and mine is a long list, but here I go. I might have forgotten some, and if you ask me the same question tomorrow, the answer may be somewhat different. Low quantity, high quality video essayists, ContraPoints, H-Bomber Guy, Folding Ideas, more specialist YouTubers, music, 12-tone, music theory analysis, Adam Neely, mostly music theory, Mike the Snare, more of a pop culture point of view, discography deep dive, Todd in the Shadows, more of a pop culture point of view, history/geography, the present past, more essayist style, often on how history influences today's issues, Map Men, entertaining, sometimes silly, but always informative, Tim Traveler, funny and informative. Most of the things he covers are things I hadn't heard of personally. Architecture/urbanism, Dammy Lee, architect, sometimes covers architecture in fiction. Stuart Hicks, architect, sometimes talking about more technical subjects. His latest is about upside-down models in architecture. Not just bikes, just stroking my ego as a Dutch person. City Nerd, focuses on American cities. To be fair, when it comes to urbanism, there are a few channels that I watch that are pretty similar in tone and subject matter, and I don't always know which is which, like Oh Urbanity, City Beautiful, and Build the Lanes. Religion for breakfast, academic deep dive into religious subjects. The creator is a specialist in early Christianity. Emma Thorne, mostly a reaction channel, pretty high quantity, coming from an atheist/skeptic angle. Usually, I don't like explicit atheist/skeptic media, despite being an atheist myself, as it is often very smug. But she is generally quite respectful of religion in general and calls out the things that need to be addressed. She often shows a world I am not aware of and generally has good insight. Paleontology/zoology. Lindsay Nicole, high quantity, her videos are often broad overviews on things, like she has a series on all geological eras, presented in an entertaining way, mostly because of her persona. General Science. Tom Scott. Veritasium. Answers in Progress. Any of the numerous channels Hank Green is involved in. Story 7. Gabby Bell does a lot of video essays on pop culture topics and is generally very fun. She covered an infomercial for the Magic Bullet, the personal versatile countertop magician, that I find hilarious with Mateo Lane, which just ticked all the boxes for me. Story 8. Stuff Made Here. Camping with Steve, Marling Bates, Steve Dangle, Retro Gamecore, Beard Meets Food, Attempt Plays, Summoning Salt, Alex Yard, Rainbolt, Old Tinkering, Vsauce. I could go on for a while. I don't watch anything else. Story 9. I'm a grown-up guy in my 30s, yet one of my favorite things is to settle down on the couch with a nice cup of tea and watch some Hermitcraft. Favorite channel though? Probably Gem, Mumbo, or Gryan. Story 10. It honestly changes on a monthly basis. Right now, it is Baumgartner Restoration. I know nothing about art history, conservation, restoration, and so on, but I love those videos. Story 11. Escape to rural France, he finds a burnt-out, abandoned multi-story chateau and proceeds to renovate it by hand with his friends. It seems like an impossible task, but it is immensely satisfying to watch. Story 12. The Y-Files. No one comes close to it. The team gives both believers and skeptics perspective and tries to resolve the mystery with logic and facts. The best thing, and why I love them so much, is they will straightforwardly tell if they can't figure something out. They aren't like other channels that will hide complete information and just resolve stuff for the sake of resolving it. Story 13. Folding Ideas, Film and Cultural Criticism. His piece on Flat Earth and QAnon is amazing, as well as Line Goes Up, which is about cryptocurrency. Sean Munger Deep Dive into History, Horses, Cultural Criticism. Ocean Liner Designs, a documentary channel about ships from the steam era. Jacob Geller Video Game and Film Criticism. Loop Hop Synthesizer Reviews. Animagraphs How Stuff Works channel with detailed 3D images and animations, like cross-sections. Harstem, StarCraft channel. The guy is funny and relaxing to watch. Some more news, political and current events criticism. Mr. Carlson's Lab Restoring Old Tube Electronics. The guy is a wizard. Renegade Cut Political and Video Game Criticism. Story 14. As of recent, Jomboy Media for the Watching Guts series. For anyone who grew up in the 1980s or 1990s and watched Guts as a kid, it's great nostalgia and funny commentary. Never miss an episode. Story 15. Abroad in Japan. Colin Furs. Beard Meets Food. Some of the best British YouTubers I have found, and the content they offer is excellent. I will always mention them in posts like this as I feel everyone can get lost in days' worth of content. Story 16. Smarter Every Day. Now Red/Blue. Donut before they sold out. Check out Pumphrey's Speed and Zach and Job's Big Time channels. Real Mechanic Stuff. John Malecki. Story 17. Honestly, I have lots of favorites, so I'll just list them. Grind Hard Plumbing Company. Super fun guys building all kinds of crazy vehicles. I love watching them fabricate stuff. The Monster Chopper is my current favorite project. Hacksmith. These guys make movie and video game stuff real as possible. I think everyone has seen their lightsaber project. I personally loved their original exoskeleton, and I especially love their Aliens power loader. Garage 54. Some absolutely mad Russian mechanics do all kinds of experiments on Ladas, like cutting up a crankshaft and welding it back together, making all 4 pistons fire at the same time, and converting a gas engine to run on diesel. Once they put a massive V8 from a bus into a Lada, then turbocharged it and broke several transmissions. Manor Tours. A German channel with some blokes from Cologne, doing strange and questionable long-distance road trips in vehicles you either never have heard of or would never use outside of the city. Super fun to watch, especially when the cars break down on the road and they have to fix them. Cinema Wins. This guy lists all the positive things about a movie, all the small details, clever tricks and stuff. I love his positivity, even listing great things about otherwise bad movies. Way better than the nitpicky guy from CinemaSins. Let's game it out. If you like video games, you know Mr. Is There a Limit? He breaks about every game he gets his hands on, to the point it's likely developers send him game keys so he can bug test their games. Because if there is a loophole, he will find it and will absolutely abuse it to make the game a chaotic mess. Also, if your name is Grace, you are in for a bad day. Story 18. British guy traveling to countries most of us won't go to. And the way he talks to people is fascinating. So far, my favorite was when he crossed the Darien Gap. Story 19, How to Cook That By and Reardon. She has two sections that I absolutely love, along with lots of amazing recipes. The two sections are Clever or Never, where she and her husband look for little gadgets and test them to determine if they are clever or if you should never use them, and Debunking, where she watches viral videos from the internet and tests them out. But when she tests them, she doesn't just say, "This works, this doesn't." She actually goes into a full explanation and will even show ways something might actually be able to work. She's kind of like the Mythbusters for viral videos. Story 20, Outdoor Boys. Luke is a father first, unlike most family vlog channels who prioritize content over the welfare of the children. My uncle and I had that same experience before he developed neuropathy in his feet. It is just a good channel. Story 21. So many interesting historical happenings explained in detail with a clear voice and some witty jokes here and there. The illustrations are great too. Story 22. In terms of who I'm most excited for when there's a new and very infrequent video, either Vsauce or Lemino. Story 23. Where to begin? I'll just list some that come to my mind. Gaming, Nitro Rad, Bumbles McFumbles, Super Eyepatch Wolf, Sphere Hunter, Your Favorite Son, Josh Strife Plays, Max Durat, Matt McMuscle, Totally Pointless TV, Wrestling, Wrestling BIOS, Deadlock, New Legacy Inc., OSW Review, Wrestling with Regret, Kim Justice's Wrestling Road, Maven Huffman. Anime/tabletop role-playing games/nerdy stuff. Melon T, One Piece mostly. Totally Not Mark, Dice Actors, German voice actors playing Dungeons & Dragons. Chaotic Neutral, Mother's Basement, Pop Culture Detective, H-Bomber Guy, Cinema Therapy, Mugiwara no Goofy, Red Bard, Lady Emily. Music, Little V Mills, J Trigger, Family Jewels, Jonathan Young, Aviators. Others, Innuendo Studios, Ryan Hollinger, The Right Opinion, Patrick CC, Tierzu, Overly Sarcastic Productions, Kazro. Story 24. Dude reviews retro gaming-related devices. Worked as a translator for the Marines for years and also wrote New York Times best-selling cookbooks. What can't he do? Story 25. They haven't got a great deal of videos yet, but the content they do have is really entertaining. They're short, snappy, but informative videos answer different hypothetical questions with science. A particular favorite of mine was their video titled, What If You Threw a Baseball at Nearly Light Speed? Story 26. The Charismatic Voice. Great singing tips and explanation of how the voice works. I enjoy seeing her discover more and more metal music, and I can't wait to see the results of her research project in studying metal vocals. Story 27. History for Granite Pyramid Stuff. Stefan Milo Prehistory. North 02 Prehistory. Summoning Salt Speedruns. Carl Jobst Speedruns. Bushy Elden Ring. Beige Frequency Comedy, Mixed Martial Arts, Popular People Critiques. JCS, Criminal Psychology, no longer makes videos. Some more news, leftist news. Mick West, UFO debunking. Plastic pills, leftist, French thinkers, capitalist critique. Explore with us, true crime. Story 28. Matt Armstrong takes crash-damaged or written-off cars and repairs them. Most recently, he finished a Mansory Rolls-Royce. His F430 rebuild, which he gifted to his dad, is my favorite, though. It included a full engine and transmission rebuild, plus all the bodywork. The whole rebuild is about 3 hours long, but for someone who knows very little about cars, like me, he is awesome at explaining what he's doing, why, and what happens when things go wrong. Story 29. Mapacalypse does really nice, long, in-depth playthroughs of various games. He reads out all the lore found in books and looks over every nook and cranny while playing. With his sweet and kind accent, it's just soothing to have it playing in the background or foreground of whatever I'm doing. Story 30. Currently, Destination Adventure. Just a guy in his truck, driving around Alaska, exploring remote areas. He's also really funny in a weird Canadian way. Also, tally-ho, but they are not really putting out the content like they used to. I know they are on the water and have some sailing to do, but it really seems like they are just not recording much. Story 31. Droz 11. He is playing through the original Pokemon, soloing with each of the original 151, ranking best to worst. I was a big Pokemon fan growing up, and every run brings something different and unexpected. He does a couple of other Pokemon-related challenges too, and it's always an easy watch. Story 32. I've been watching him for all my adult life, since he was posting videos for Machinima. It's honestly been a crazy ride, and I can honestly say he's been a really positive influence on my life. Story 33. Out of Love, Game Grumps. Internet historian used to be great. JCS2. Akshani Sports. Fireship for tech and coding news. Lemino. MTG Goldfish for magic. The Gathering stuff. Timba on Toast has great documentaries. SCP Explained. Wendigoon. Story 34. Wristwatch Revival. He does wonderful restorations on vintage watches. Mad for Motors. Amazing restorations on trashed cars. He does the majority of the work himself and speeds up the footage so it does not get boring. Great stuff. Renaissance Periodization. Dr. Mike Israetel talks about various fitness topics from a scientific perspective. Some of the most informed fitness content on the internet. Story 35. Sorted Food. I probably watch an old video every day. I still love the new ones too, but it's definitely a comforting experience to rewatch their videos. Story 36. Serpa Design makes vivariums, aquariums, and similar projects, and the quality of his videos has grown substantially over the years I've been watching him. His videos are super calming, and I learn a lot about animals, plants, ecosystems, and even art. It's also really cool to follow along in his life, as he's just a normal person who's clearly doing this because he's passionate about it. Story 37. Scary Interesting. I have learned so much about historical expeditions, cave diving safety, and mountaineering. His uploads are the highlight of my week. Chubby Emu, he was able to make a recovery.